but we really do need a solid amount of water. But as you're going to see at the end, so hang in there, it's not so much about counting the water and downloading an app and really plugging in exactly how many cups of water you're having. There are easier ways to figure this out, but the fact is that we need quite a bit of water. Hello and welcome to the Core Podcast. We're your hosts, Aline Keller
and Shannon Polson.
I'm a precision nutrition certified coach.
And I'm a NASM certified personal trainer for over 13 years. We support women 30 years old and over to pursue health through realistic nutrition and fitness strategies. Our main passion is to help you find that smile when you look in the mirror, find freedom when you eat, and joy when moving your body.
Make sure to subscribe for your weekly dose of doable health tips, practical advice, and so much more. It's the health education you wish you'd had.
All right, today Aline is going to talk all about water. So what counts as water consumption, that type of stuff. And I'm really, really excited because it's starting to get warmer here in northern Minnesota. And as we know, heading into the summer months, it's very important for all of us to make sure that we are consuming enough water.
Yes, absolutely. Now, every day there are thousands, I would shoot for millions, but let's just stay in the thousands of searches on Google for how much water should I drink or am I dehydrated? And the answers that pop up can be terrifying because it's all like, everybody's dehydrated. Most people are dehydrated and they don't know it. And then there's all these like horrific lists of things that are going on, like headaches and constipation and bad breath and dehydration dangers and all of that. So it can be confusing to know exactly how much water should I drink, how should I just drink plain water, does anything else count? So today we're kind of going to peel back the curtain on all that. So we're going to start with a bit of the why water is important. We're going to talk a little bit about how much water you actually need and how to adjust this. And we're going to finish with a very simple way to figure out if you're getting enough water or not. So let's dive right in. So our bodies are about 60% water, which is a lot. And we lose a lot of water throughout the day. On a regular non-summer low activity day, you're going to lose water from peeing, you're going to lose water from sweating, you're going to lose water from pooping, maybe other bodily fluids that you are expelling, and you're going to lose some water with that. And not to mention, if you're sick at all, like if you have a cold, you're also losing a lot of water. So we do lose water and we do have to replace that water. But what are some jobs that water has besides all these things in our body that are made of water? So water helps to carry nutrients and oxygen to our cells. Water helps to flush bacteria from our bladders. It aids in digestion. Water prevents constipation. Water helps normalize blood pressure. It helps cushion your joints. It protects organs and tissues. It helps to regulate body temperature. It maintains electrolyte balance. So these are some of the jobs that water has. So water is really, really important. But before we go into what actually counts as water, let's take a look at how much water do we actually need in a day. So different places are going to give you different calculations and different numbers. But the old saying of 8 cups of water a day, that when you go through most of the calculations, that really is an average that kind of sits well for most people. Now, for healthy people, on average, men, the average intake would be about 15 cups, and for women, the average would be about 11. But we need to remember that that's not plain water. That just always depends on your other nutrition habits and some other things that come into play. But we really do need a solid amount of water But as you're going to see at the end, so hang in there, it's not so much about counting the water and downloading an app and really plugging in exactly how many cups of water you're having. There are easier ways to figure this out, but the fact is that we need quite a bit of water. Now, if you are a healthy individual, you're a healthy woman, and you're not an athlete, you're not an elder, you're a healthy, let's say 20-ish to 50-ish woman, that's an average of what you'll need in a day is about 11 cups. Okay. But other factors are going to change how much water you actually need. So let's take a look at a few of those. Activity level. So when you exercise, or when you go for a walk, or when you drop your kids off at school, or if you're gardening, any activity you do that makes you sweat, that means that you need more water than on a day that you're not sweating so much. So if you're trucking along on that cardio on your cardio days, you definitely need more water than your non-cardio days. If you are doing any sort of activity that makes you sweat, then that's definitely a sign that you need more water, because if that's not your normal amount of sweat for the day, it means that your body is losing more water. So you should increase your water intake. Another thing is outside temperatures, like Shannon mentioned in the introduction. When it is really hot outside, you need more water. And you will notice as well that you feel thirstier in the warmer months because your body is losing more water. Another thing to look at is overall health and medications. So yes, it is possible to drink too much water. Now, most people don't get to this level, but you also don't want to overdo it. You don't want to be drinking so much water that you get water poisoning, which actually is a thing. But for certain health conditions, it is possible to take in too much water. So for certain health conditions, you need to pay a little more attention to this intake. Thyroid disease, kidney issues, liver issues, heart problems. So these are things that you need to talk to your health practitioner and figure out if you need to pay attention and maybe dose down your water, or if you just need to aim for the strategies that we're talking about here. Now, there are also certain medications that will make you retain water. So there are some anti-inflammatory drugs that help you, some pain medications, some antidepressants. So there are some things that make you hold on to water. So that's also something that you need to talk to your health practitioner to see how you can balance this out. But that is going to change how much water you actually intake, because you are either expelling more water or holding on to water, or you just have a condition that you need to monitor this a little more. But again, for healthy individuals, you have an average of about 11 cups that you're going to be drinking. Now, another thing is age. As we age, now older people, this is usually around the 60-year-old mark, don't sense thirst as much as when you're younger. So especially if you are above 60 and you're on any medication that causes fluid loss, like a diuretic or any sort of medication that makes you lose more fluid, this is something you really need to pay attention to. So the thirst cues in elders are not as well pronounced. They don't work as well as with younger individuals. So that is also something to pay attention to, is your water intake if you are in that age bracket. So these are some things that can change how much water you need. Oh, another one is pregnancy and breastfeeding. So if you are pregnant or if you are nursing, you also need more water. You might feel thirstier as well during certain parts of your cycle. You might find that in certain parts of your cycle, you're retaining more water, and in parts of your cycle, you're actually losing more water. So all of these things, they kind of get into this balance of how much water am I getting? And again, at the end, I'm going to show you a little strategy to kind of measure that. So what do we drink to get enough water? Now, there is a school of thought that is going to tell you that you have to only drink water, nothing else. The only thing that counts as water is straight up water. And while you really do want to drink water, drinking water, actual water, is important. And in this case, it doesn't matter if it's carbonated or if it's still water, just drink enough water. Water is still the better choice. but not everybody can stomach just drinking plain water. So this might be a process for you. And honestly, it can just get really, really boring to drink nothing but water. So does anything else count when it comes to hydration? Now, any beverage, any beverage containing water contributes towards your daily needs for water, as well as any any food that is very high in water. So think like watermelon, squash, like fruits and vegetables that are very high in water. They also contribute to this water intake for digestion. So when we say that the average is for women to be having 11 cups of water a day, that doesn't mean plain actual water. That includes foods and that includes other drinks. Yogurt, for example, has a lot of water. So there are certain things, milk, that you are going to eat and drink that contribute to this hydration. Also, caffeine doesn't dehydrate you. Okay. Over the course of the day, coffee will still count for your beverage intake. Yes, it does make you urinate more, but it still counts as hydration. You don't want to just live on coffee. You don't want that to be your only beverage. However, it's not going to suck the water out of your body if you drink coffee. So water, again, is still the better choice, but anything that you drink is going to count. Now, something to counteract that is to remember that if you're drinking a lot of sugary drinks, this can lead to weight gain, this can lead to more inflammation, and it might not be the best choice. One option, if you don't like straight up water, would be to either try sparkling water or try adding 0-calorie flavors to your water. Or if you do want a different drink, which everybody wants every once in a while, as much as you can, go for the 0-calorie drinks, just so that you're not increasing your sugar consumption with, calories that essentially don't help you feel any fuller. So it can lead to some weight gain. Now, too much caffeine can also be bad for you. So while it will contribute to your digestion, drinking too much coffee can give you the jitters or can stop you from sleeping. So that's also something to think about. And when it comes to alcohol, yes, alcohol will somewhat contribute to your water intake. However, alcohol makes you urinate a lot, so it tends to not be a great choice for hydration or for general health. I mean, we've never done anything specifically on alcohol, but there are no health benefits from drinking alcohol, so you really, really should limit that to 1 or 2 drinks a day. If you actually 1 drink a day if you're a woman, 1 or 2 if you're a man, if you really, really, really enjoy it. But again, this isn't something that should really be in your day-to-day if you want improved health. So what counts? Water is the most important thing. Anything you drink counts, and there are many, many foods that count towards this water consumption for hydration. Now, how do you, if you don't want to be measuring, you say like, oh, but Aline, it's so boring to be like having an app or measuring or counting, like you can't really tell. So there are 2 main ways for you to measure if you are getting enough water. The first one is thirst. Now, again, like I mentioned, after a certain age group, thirst is not a reliable form of knowing if you're getting enough water, but for most people, thirst is a great indicator. You're more thirsty or you're thirsty, drink water. And you are going to feel that if you're doing that cardio or if you're out on a hot day, if you're doing more movement, you're going to feel thirstier. And so drink more water. And so that really is a very reliable way to get enough water in, is to just go with your thirst. Another strategy that I love to give to my clients is drink a cup or half a cup of water before every single meal. Breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, before you eat, drink some water. That's also going to help, and it's twofold in this case. It also helps you naturally regulate your food consumption a little bit. Please don't overdo this. I am not telling you to drink 5 cups of water so that you don't eat food. That's not it. This is just to help regulate that consumption a little bit, but it also is a great way to get in enough water because you're tacking the water habit to a meal. So that's a good little side note. But the first one would be if you're thirsty, drink water. The second one is to look at your urine, to look at your pee. So when you pee, take a look in the toilet and see how yellow is your pee. Now, it's important to remember that the water in the toilet is diluting your pee. So if it's dark, it means that it's really dark because you kind of have to imagine that it was concentrated in your body and now you're diluting it in that water. But I have a nifty little chart that you can get the link to it in the podcast notes. I have a little chart that shows you 6 different colors and tells you, what to pay attention to with each one. So if it is completely clear, if your urine is completely clear, you can't even tell that you peed, then you're probably drinking too much water. You might be overhydrated and maybe hold back a little. And if this persists, always talk to your healthcare provider, all right? Because this podcast is not health advice. This is just informational for you to take and roll with it. So I am not telling you if you have a health issue or not, but I am telling you red flags to pay attention to. And if your urine is completely clear, chances are you're overhydrated. And then there are there's one level. The next level would be like very pale urine. This is what you're aiming for. Is, you're probably well hydrated, it's pale yellow, just drink if you're thirsty. And then if it's a little bit darker, and again, I have a great little PDF for you to kind of see these, just a reference point for some of the colors. If it's a little darker, you may need to drink water soon, even though you're still hydrated. And then kind of the in between is like a really dark yellow. And that just means it's probably time to hydrate. You should go and drink some water. And then we have the 2 really dark colors, which is what we don't want to see because these would mean that you are most likely dehydrated and you need to get some fluids into you quickly and talk to a healthcare practitioner because you do not want to get dehydrated. So these 2 are the best strategies for you to figure out if you're getting enough water. Is if you're thirsty, drink water, preferably water and not always a different beverage, and check your pee. If it's dark, then odds are you need to make some adjustments. And drinking when you're thirsty and tacking on that water right before the meals, that's really going to help you to really just stay on top of kind of drinking enough water. And concluding, always remember that there are seasons, there are moments when you might need to drink a little more water. So also pay attention to that. If you're sweating more, if you're doing high intensity activity, if it's really hot, these are all signals for you to drink more water. If you're talking a lot, like me and Shannon do during the podcast, we always have water because you're losing water through all of these activities. So there you have it. Don't forget to download the little PDF I have there for you with some water, some urine color references. And as always, any questions, just ask.
The 2 key points that I got out of this one, Ailini, is number 1, that coffee can be considered, water intake.
Yeah.
And then that you can consume too much water. And sometimes I feel like that's what I do because I just drink water all day long and it's great. And then I'm using the bathroom like every 20 to 30 minutes and it just is what it is,
Yeah.
But maybe just to slow down and really just drink when you're thirsty versus it's kind of a habit too. Like if you're working and just
Yeah.
having something in your hand.
And we've been so brainwashed that we're not getting enough water. We're not getting enough water. Everybody is mildly dehydrated, right? So there's this buzz. And so we start drinking a lot, but too much water consumption it can be dangerous, right? Especially because our our body, we have a balance of electrolytes, and the water intake, when you don't have enough water, you have too much of this sodium electrolytes in your system, and that's going to cause a host of issues. But if you have too much water, it means that they're too diluted, so that brings on issues as well. So we really want to stay in that happy balance where you're not
Yeah.
drinking too much but you're getting enough in.
Yeah.
And of course, with the going to the bathroom all the time, there are other issues that could contribute to this. So there are some people who, have some pelvic issues that they need to work through, and there are great therapies for that. So it's not always water, but a lot of times if you are drinking too much water, yeah, you'll definitely be peeing more than you have to. So, check the pee. If it's completely clear, maybe you don't need that much water.
Let's go back to my coffee. Can you touch base on individuals that add salt to their water? Have you ever heard of that?
So yes, here's the thing. That's a strategy that needs to be used carefully, and it needs to be recommended by your health practitioner, because
Mhm.
that would be, so if you're dehydrated, oftentimes, when for example someone's dehydrated and they go to the hospital, they're not getting plain water, right? They're getting water with electrolytes in there. So there are certain instances where you do want to either add salt or sugar to your water, because that's going to help you bring these levels back to normal. But it's not something that will just randomly, if you're well hydrated, if everything is balanced, adding the salt isn't really going to do anything.
Right,
I mean, it's
right,
going to taste
right.
weird. Personally, I don't like salt water, but unless I'm at the ocean. But it's I mean, in the ocean, I don't mind.
I'd rather have that problem. Oh no, I'm in the ocean. Oh
Right?
no,
Yeah. Oh no, I'm in
salt
the
water
ocean. I
in
drink
my
some
mouth.
water. It's salty. But it's not something that you would just do to quote unquote improve your health. Like that's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
if you're drinking enough water and you're eating properly, like your body does a beautiful job of balancing that. You don't have to do it for your body, but there are
Mhm.
instances when it would be beneficial. And it's kind of like the idea of the sports drinks, because
Mhm.
the sports drinks, they are water with sugar and salt. That's what a
Yep,
sport drink is.
yep, yep.
Because, when you lose a lot of water because you're consuming a lot of energy, you need to replenish all of this. And the sports drink kind of gives you that whole thing. Of course, lots of us aren't drinking sports drinks because we sweat profusely. We're just drinking them because they're sugary drinks and they're yummy. But it's the same idea as the salt water. It's to balance out this electrolyte. Um, you don't randomly need it, but there are situations where it could be helpful. Does that answer
Yeah,
your
I'm
question?
glad. Yeah, definitely. I love that you had the same example as like the sports drinks because a lot of people, they'll come into the gym or they'll go do a light workout and they're drinking these sports drinks and it's like you don't actually need that sports drink. I mean,
Yeah.
unless it's an exercise session 90 minutes or over and you were sweating profusely, then is when you need to start consuming something else besides water. But it goes back to the salt water. You can't just Google it and be like, oh, well, this is what
Yeah.
I should try next because this is what's going to give me all the results.
This is the
No, it
magic
definitely
pill.
yeah, it definitely needs to be brought on by your physician. And then same with sports drinks, just keeping that in mind that, well, with the warmer weather, it's good because we are sweating more, even if we're
Yeah.
just going for a light walk. But it's unnecessary, especially unnecessary calories and sugar intake that we
Yeah.
might not need.
Yeah.
So,
And
mhm,
it's the kind, for example, when people get sick and they're like vomiting or having diarrhea,
mhm, yep,
those are times when like the salt water or the sports drinks, like these are very necessary. So, if I remember a while back, there was a bug going around and all of us got sick, and everyone. So yeah, you're gonna drink the sports drinks because you're helping your body to replenish not only the liquid but the electrolytes. But on average, um, we really don't need that
no.
on the day to day.
Very, very good information. I feel, for some of us, we might already know, but it's a good reminder too, just to learn and be educated what our hydration levels should be.
Yeah. And just make it a little simpler. As we always say here, things, I mean, simple isn't easy, but simple is simple. And we can go into the essentials, into the big rocks. We can master on the majors and really say, okay, what do I need, instead of trying to do a bunch of math and going through like, what's the best drink?
Yeah.
And do I need lemon or salt or whatever in my water? No, just drink water, pay attention to your thirst, pay attention to your pee, and